it's the first step to receiving that support, and you don't have to do it all by yourself.
Yeah.
In fact, no one, no adult, no young person needs to go through this by themselves. And you starting off that conversation is the way in which you can then receive the support that you really deserve. I'm Judi. I'm a cognitive behaviour therapist working in children and adolescent mental health services. I work with young people to help them resolve their mental health difficulties.
I'm Lucy. I am a mental health nurse working in the general hospital setting. So I help young people who might present in crisis to A&E, or if they're admitted medically, onto the paediatric wards.
I think in general, as a young person or adolescent, it is really brave to tell someone that you are thinking about self-harming or have self-harmed.
Yeah, and I think even if you feel you can't tell your parent or your carer, I would always advise using a trusted adult. Maybe that's your friend's mum or your teacher, someone that you trust that is an adult, that can help guide you on your next steps. And I think just telling that person is a big move in getting yourself some help.
Yeah, it's the first step, isn't it? And probably one of the hardest steps, because I can imagine there's lots of concerns about how to even start that conversation, or who to tell or how to tell someone. From my experience, a lot of young people and adolescents worry about upsetting people in their life, or what might be the consequences to them, or worrying even about like being sectioned or something quite extreme happening to them from starting off that conversation about self-harm.
People aren't going to immediately kind of section you the moment if you go to A&E or your GP from, saying that you're self-harming. There are a lot of things services can do to help you before any of those really kind of restrictive things come into play. And actually, there are a lot of low-key interventions and a lot of benefit from just actually talking to someone who you don't know, a nurse or a social worker or whoever that might be, about your concerns, your mental health, why you might be self-harming. And actually, those conversations might be the thing that help you progress further in your mental health recovery and start your journey in receiving care.
Yeah, I think if you have self-harmed and it's needing medical attention, then whether you have told an adult or not, being medically seen is really important. So we would be always advising to go to your school nurse or go to A&E or call 111 in an emergency situation.
Yeah, and I think you're right that it's normal to feel worried in some situations where you're about to tell someone something that you're worried about their response, or you're worried about how they might react or the consequences. And actually, you might feel a sense of relief once somebody else knows what you're going through. And you don't have to use like big words like self-harm, or you don't have to be descriptive. But, even if you could say to an adult, I'm really struggling at the moment. I'm not feeling very good, feeling very low.
Even if you haven't self-harmed, or you are just wanting to start off a conversation about the fact that you're struggling, that can be just as important. And sometimes you might even want to avoid even talking about self-harm initially, just to get a sense of how a conversation's going. So a lot of young people I've worked with often start a conversation with their parents or carers about the fact that they're struggling, or that they're in distress, or they're not feeling happy, or they're worrying about kind of things happening in their life, or having really difficult, dark thoughts. And that can then sometimes lead on to a conversation about having had thoughts about self-harm or having self-harmed.
Yeah, and I think you're right as well. You don't need to wait to tell an adult about what you're going through. We'd prefer you to tell people sooner, so that you could get help earlier.
And I guess just in a similar vein, there's you're probably waiting for the right time to have a conversation. Maybe your family's going through difficult stuff, or there's other things going on in life that you might be thinking that your mental health is not a priority. And I want young people to remember that your mental health is always a priority. And even if it doesn't feel like there is a right time to have that conversation, it's better to start that conversation as soon as possible. I guess in general, it might be helpful to wait for a time when you feel safe, when maybe there's a calm atmosphere at home, or maybe when your parents have a little bit more time than usual. That is important, but I guess waiting for the perfect opportunity might not, it might not come, I guess.
And I guess as well, you might be worried about people not understanding how you're feeling or not understanding what self-harm means to you. So if you can communicate that in a different way, maybe via a text, maybe write it down. You don't have to have kind of a formal sit-down conversation if that doesn't feel right or safe for you.
Some young people that I've worked with sometimes don't have the words to explain how they're feeling emotionally, or what their thoughts are, what's even going on for them, what's triggered urges to self-harm. So you don't need to be able to formulate that or express it in an intellectual way. Whatever you are able to communicate regarding how you're feeling is a really good starting off point.
Is the best.
Even if it's just writing a note saying, I need help,
Yeah.
right? Or can we have a conversation?
Yeah.
Or I'm struggling. That
And I
kind
have
of
5 minutes,
Yeah.
right? And I think we're in a world, aren't we, where everything's 24/7, everything's very busy. You might feel like your family, your carers, your teachers, your friends even are too busy for you and potentially, haven't got time, or maybe you feel like you don't deserve their time to talk about your feelings. But actually, we want everyone to know that having that time, that 5 minutes even, to talk about how you're feeling to an adult could be the difference between you getting help or not getting help.
I think you raise a good point about like thinking that your parents are too busy or that you're undeserving of their time. And I think your mental health there's always time for that. Your mental health is a priority, and most adults would agree with that, even if you don't feel it inside, because you might be struggling with what's going on for you and thinking that you there's no kind of time for you, but there always is. And I think even if you're worried about what your parents might say, it's important to remember that that is those are their emotions, and you don't need to feel responsible for how you make a parent feel. They are your parents, they're your carers, they are your teachers, the adults in your life, and however they might respond to you, even if it might be negative, or they might kind of dismiss you first of all, or they might even be angry. First of all, that's not okay, but that's also not your responsibility to feel as though you've done something wrong. It's really brave to talk about self-harm, and even if it's kind of you're not going to get the response that you deserve, it's not your responsibility to kind of make sure that you're looking after the parents and carers in your life.
So I think as well with adults, you can often feel like you might have to anticipate their emotions or anticipate their response. And actually, that's, like you say, that's not your responsibility, number one. And number two, what you're going through is really important. And it's really important that you share that, even if it's not all of it, because it's so important that you're safe. And if you don't feel safe to do that at home or where you're living, there is always going to be someone out there who really does want to listen to you and really does want to help you. It might not be in the form of a parent, it might be a carer, it might be someone completely different, like a social worker or a mental health nurse, but someone is out there who really wants to help you. So I wouldn't be discouraged if you don't get the response you want from the person you tell.
Yeah, and I think that that's also made me think about like what kind of feelings you might be having about this behavior that you found yourself engaging with, and you might be feeling kind of a bit ashamed or embarrassed, but there's absolutely nothing to feel ashamed for, nothing to feel guilty about, nothing to feel embarrassed about. And we want to hear from you, don't we?
Yeah.
We want you to talk to us about what's going on so that we can help you. And adults in your life will be able to listen, and they'll be able to help you through it. it's the first step to receiving that support, and you don't have to do it all by yourself. In fact, no adult, no young person needs to go through this by themselves, and you starting off that conversation is the way in which you can then receive the support that you really deserve. For more information on self-harm and coping with distress, you can go to the Best For You website.
You could also text NATTER to 85258 or call 111.